pray to Antonio. He'll help you find it. Good morning and welcome to the second day of my city break here in Lisbon. I found my hotel yesterday afternoon, and what a lovely hotel it is as well. Very nice room, and with a view overlooking the castle, which is lovely. And talking of castles, that's my destination for today. Going to explore the castle and see what I can discover up there. They've got some museums and hopefully a little more besides. Walking down these steps towards one of the main squares here in Lisbon. So I'll take a look at that, then walk up the other side, up the hill, up to the castle, and probably down towards the cathedral as well. So I'm looking forward to going there. A little disappointed the other week with the cathedral in Livorno that was closed. So hopefully this one will be open. We can take a look around and I can sit quietly for a while and enjoy the atmosphere and pray. So that's something I want to do later on today after exploring the castle. Hopefully the weather is going to hold out as well, because the forecast the next few days is a little wet, even more so than yesterday, and that isn't good. So let's cross over the road and see what we can discover here in this square before walking up towards the castle. It's nice to see one of Portugal's trams go past. Famous tram 28, very busy tram, goes around all the tourist routes here in Lisbon. And this is the square Martim Moniz. A very sort of interesting display here in the middle of the square. It's very sort of castellated with a sort of a moat surrounding the structures. But Martin Moniz was a leading figure in the siege of Lisbon, which was on the 1st of July to the 25th of October, 1147. Oh, and there's a plaque on the brickwork behind me, which there we go, which tells a little more about his story, because it's quite an interesting one. Before the siege, Lisbon was occupied by Moorish invaders, and they occupied the castle, which stands up on the hill behind me. Martin, well, he positioned himself in a doorway. The Moors were going to close the doors to the castle, and he positioned himself in the doorway, allowing time for his men to catch up and get through the door and eventually overthrow the Moorish invaders. And on that day he was killed. Brave man, and one of the leading figures here in the history of Lisbon. And in fact, if it wasn't for him, Lisbon wouldn't have been captured by the Portuguese back in 1147, and the history of Portugal would have been very different indeed. But it's a lovely monument behind me, and he's remembered in this square, the square Martim Moniz. So there we go. And hopefully we'll find out a little more about Martin when we go up to the castle. And we never know, we might find the doorway in which he died, which would be interesting to see if that's marked up there. I don't know if it is or not, but it'd be interesting to find out. But let's go and head up there and take a look and see what we can discover on the way. I'm looking forward to visiting this castle. I just love visiting castles. They are just so interesting, and apparently this one is not going to disappoint. So let's go to the castle. was interesting walking around that square. And another tram behind me. Tram number 15. Really rather nice to see the old trams. Not many places left that have them these days, which is a shame. But I can walk up these steps to the top, and she'll take me to the base of the castle, and then so we can discover up there to walk through the castle grounds. Quite looking forward to this. Gosh, all these steps. I'll see you at the top. Well, that was quite a climb. I had an escalator there as well, but it wasn't working. Would have been quite fun to have ridden the escalator up the steps. Now into a nice little leafy back street. Let's have a look and walk down here. Oh, this is rather nice. Old world architecture, tree-lined road, and cobbles. Really rather nice. Let's walk on the pavement and then I won't get run over if a car comes round. I had that problem in recent weeks on my travels around Germany. Getting run over, or nearly, but there we go. Right, this is lovely. So hopefully this will take me around the base of the castle and up into the castle grounds, and then we can explore the castle. So let's just walk around this corner to the castle entrance. There's a nice old set of steps here. I wonder where they go. My inquisitive nature takes the better of me. I do like crawling up back streets and narrow passageways in and around cities and towns, because you never know where they're going to go or what you might find when you get up there. Just walk up these steps a little further and see where they go. Probably going into somebody's living room. Well, someone's residential area. Or maybe not. What's up here? A bit of castle wall ahead. Oh, getting puffed out. Wow. And then we go down some steps here. Oh, this is interesting. This probably goes back to where I was. Just my luck. Just my luck. Let's walk around this corner. Right, at the bottom of the steps, negotiate these bins, and yes, just back where I started from. Oh well, never mind. Now let's follow this pathway round and find the castle. Here we are. This is the entrance the way into the castle. There are probably several entrances, but I've just followed the tourist signs because I'm a tourist. So I follow the tourist signs, and this is where it's brought me. This is rather nice up here. Lots of hills in Lisbon. A friend of mine did tell me about the hills, and be prepared to do a lot of walking, he said. And he was right. There's a lot of hills here. So let's go into the ticket office and get a ticket for the castle and everything else that I can see here as well. And I've purchased my ticket. €10. That's not bad. That's not bad. You pay a lot more in castles in England as an entrance fee. What's that, about £8.5 sterling? That's pretty good. There's a lovely statue of a conquistador here. There we go, turn the camera around. At night of the Second Crusade. Of course, when I was in Regensburg a few months ago, the old bridge there was crossed by the Knights of the Second Crusade. And I wonder if Martin Moniz actually crossed that bridge. That would be nice to think that I walked on the same bridge as the man responsible for conquering this castle, or enabling the conquest of the castle back in 1147. What a magnificent site it is as well. There's been occupation on this site since the 8th century BC, 800 years before the birth of Christ, which is a phenomenal amount of time ago. And there's been a castle on the site since the 1st century BC. Oh my gosh, it's windy. And since that time it's been conquested. There's been occupation on the site by Phoenicians, Carthaginians, Romans, and of course the Moors, who were defeated here back in 1147 by the armies of Alfonso Henrique. I think he went on to be Alfonso I of Portugal, and a long ancestral line of kings of Portugal followed. But one of the great viewpoints of Portugal is here from the grounds of the castle, and it's just ahead. Absolutely fantastic. There we go, and there is the harbour and the river Tejo River, and you can see in the background the statue of Christ, similar to that which is to be found in Rio de Janeiro, and a smaller version of the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, that's what it looks like to me, and hopefully the next couple of days I'll go across there and take a look further, because there's a lot to explore on the other side. But that does largely depend upon the weather, and the weather for the next 2 days, well, worse than yesterday. So I'm not holding out much hope on this trip of getting across, but we will do our best. But today I'm going to explore the castle, so let's walk on up and see what we can discover here on the Castelo San Jorge. Really rather interesting, just walking around looking at what remains here. There's quite a smorgasbord of architecture as well from the various periods of the castle's history, and a lot of old cannons as well in situ. The impressive one behind me is from 1622, according to the plaque. Absolutely lovely. Of course, the castle was extended around the year 1300 by King Denis I, and Ferdinand I extended it further between 1373 and 1375. And it's he who built the walled compound. This is where we're walking now. Really rather lovely. But it's the castle's dedicated to Saint George, or Saint George. It was dedicated by John of Aviz, or John I, who married the English princess Philippa of Lancaster. I can't remember when, but yes, that's how it got its name. And there's also another English connection as well, and we'll discover that when we head down to the cathedral. And that one's really rather fascinating. So looking forward to going down there. And if you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and a like, and ding that bell, because there's plenty more to come as well. I have adventures all over Europe, and hopefully to destinations outside Europe coming as well to my channel. So there is plenty to see and plenty more to come. But now let's head on to the inner parts of the castle and see what we can discover up there. Entrance to the castle. Just walk across the stone bridge and in through the archway here. Really rather interesting. Round to the right, and you can see the walls of the castle and the ramparts. Really is absolutely wonderful. Very impressive indeed. Now let's go through this doorway here, this red doorway, and into the castle. Seems to be another little inner chamber here as well. Again, walls on either side, and through this archway into castle courtyard. Oh, this is lovely. Gosh, you can see the walkways as well. Better get out onto the ramparts and have a look. This is absolutely fantastic. It really is. Let's walk a little further around and go into the inner area of the castle. I'll come back and walk on the walls a little later, I think. There we go. Here's another doorway into an inner part of the castle. And this seems to be another inner courtyard. Again, apart from a few trees and some walls, there's not too much here. There's some more steps which go up to the top of the walls. Other people seem to be going up there, so perhaps I should go up as well. So we'll just climb these stairs, and then we can look at the views over the castle and the views over the city. Okay, and here we are up on the ramparts. See the inner courtyard where I've just come from, and some fine views over the city of Lisbon. But on my left are some steps which go down to the top of one of the entrance towers, and from here I can look down and I can see the square de Martin Moniz, where I was at the beginning of this video. So these steps are a little bit uneven, they're cobbled, so I'm going to walk down these steps and show you the views over the square. Gosh, my vertigo's taking the better of me going down here. Oh dear, I'll see you at the bottom. Well, I've made it down all those steps. The wind caught my hair, which added to my vertigo problem. Oh dear, but I've made it, and you can see behind me the square de Martin Moniz, where I started the video, and the steps which I walked down as well. There's a building which rather obscures the view of the square, but from further up the steps here, you do get a better view of the square. So I'll put a photograph on the screen of that now for you to look at. But it's quite nice here. The rain has held off. We had a few spots of rain, but the wind has picked up a little bit. So I'm going to leave you with some photographs of the from the ramparts of the castle, overlooking the city and the inner parts of the castle. And I'm going to head off and try and find the museum here. It's also in the castle grounds. So I'm going to try and find that. First I've got to walk up those steps, and they look quite daunting, but there we go. I've walked down them, so I'll walk up them. So here are some photographs taken from the ramparts. Around the castle was €10 well spent. Did enjoy walking around the ramparts and looking at what was on display. Not a great deal there, but there was a lot of history to look at in the architecture. I did see the museum there, which was quite interesting. Quite a few interesting artifacts on display: old coins, broken pottery, kitchen equipment, old pots and things. It's very interesting to see that. But I never saw the doorway where Martin Moniz was killed. I guess that location has probably been lost to history. But well worth a visit, and say €10 well spent. But somewhere down here is the cathedral. So I'm going to try and find that and see what else we can discover on the way. And the cathedral, of course, holds another connection to England. An Englishman who did rather well for himself here in Portugal back in 1147. So I'm going to find the cathedral and tell you that story. I thought a little further and seen some more trams. I do like seeing trams. I've just walked past what looks like an English Type B postal box. Now I did have quite a little look, and indeed it is a former English postal box manufactured by Andrew Handyside and Company. They were making postal boxes between 1848 and 1910, and they went out of business. I think those dates are correct. I'll put the correct ones on the screen if they're not. But this is the Largo Santo Antonio de Sé, and the marvellous statue just behind me to Saint Antonio, or give him his full name, Fernando Martinez de Beljuez. Quite a mouthful, but yes, Sant Antonio, Saint Anthony, born in Lisbon on the 15th of August 1195, and died in Padua on the 13th of June 1231, and he's buried in the Basilica there in Padua. But it's quite interesting actually, because he's a patron saint of quite a few interesting things. Patron saint of miracles, of travellers, of finding one's spouse, pregnancy, harvests, animals, and numerous others, including lost items, lost people, and lost souls. So if you've lost something, pray to Antonio. He'll help you find it. There we go. Very nice to see that statue. But now let's head on up to the cathedral and see what we can discover there. Of San Antonio is the cathedral, and there's loads of tuk-tuks outside here. Absolute tourist trap. But there we go. There's the cathedral. Absolutely fantastic. It's starting to rain. Oh dear. Let's go inside and take a look at the internal architecture of this fantastic building. Fantastic inside there. That little museum, pay €5 and go up to the Treasury Museum, and some of the artifacts they have on display there are absolutely incredible. Some incredible items of church plate and vestments going back hundreds of years. But the internal architecture was just superb in there. Just what you expect from a cathedral of this sort of age. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's nice that it's open, unlike the cathedral in Livorno a few months ago. But it's called the Cathedral, Lisbon Cathedral, but it's actually the Cathedral of St Mary Major, to give it its full title, or simply the Sé das Lisboa, as they say in Portuguese. But it's beautiful inside, it really is. And the first bishop was an Englishman called Gilbert of Hastings, from 1147 to 1166. and he was an English monk of the Christian army of the Second Crusade, and fought in the siege of Lisbon here in 1147. And there's been a bishopric in Lisbon since the 4th century, and the bishopric had been vacant since the Muslim invaders back in the year 716. But wind's getting up and it's starting to rain, and I'm going to end the video here outside the say, outside the cathedral. Tomorrow, well, the weather is going to be pretty yuck tomorrow according to the forecast, so we'll find something to do. It'll probably be the aquarium, because I was disappointed not to visit the aquarium in Livorno a few months ago, and I know it's open tomorrow, so that's probably where I'm going to end up, in the dry, surrounded by water. So there we go, that's tomorrow, but this is where I end this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button for me and ding that bell, and we'll see you soon, well, tomorrow, for another adventure here in Lisbon.